Real Madrid, being the absolute vultures that they are, have decided that they are working on a deal to sign Ibrahima Konate next summer on the expiration of his contract. This just all feels a bit too Groundhog Day for my liking. So, in a surprise to pretty much no one, Ibrahima Konate is in the final year of his deal. That seems to be the way in which Liverpool operate nowadays. We saw what happened with Salah, Van Dijk and Trent, and look how well that went. Obviously, Salah and Van Dijk signed. Brilliant. Trent left. Boo him. Now Ibrahima Konate finds himself in the same position where we're potentially losing one of our key Premier League title-winning players on a free deal. Something is wrong with the way this club conducts contract negotiations, because say what you want about the incomings, the outgoings, what have you, this is piss poor from an ownership that claim to be as good as they are, and we've seen the best of FSG and the worst. But this is dreadful. Konate, by all accounts, by mine personally, is one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. I would argue up until that Real Madrid injury that he suffered in November, he was our best centre-back last season up until that point, even ahead of Virgil van Dijk. But the thought of losing him on a free deal boils my piss, because he's just too good to be losing on that deal. Losing Trent is one thing. We knew Trent's value. But, we'd sort of grown to accept that. He was such a rare talent. He was someone who we could see the best of Trent was passing range, but defensively, it was like watching a man run on treacle. He just didn't give a shit. And we accepted that because we saw what he could do going forward. Konate, though, oh my God, he's just so important to this back line. A back line, by the way, which is seeing a lot of change this summer with Frimpong and Kerkez coming in, potentially losing Robertson or Simicas. We've got no solidified centre-back options behind Konate and Van Dijk. We've got Gomez, who's injured most weeks, and Endo, who's a defensive midfielder playing centre-back like a kid wearing his dad's suit doing a pretend job interview. Now, with Konate potentially leaving on a free, we find a gaping hole in our back line. And according to Fabrizio Romano, this seems to be the way that things are going. Real Madrid are working on a deal to sign him next summer, meaning they're happy to wait. And I can't blame them. We're talking about one of the best centre-backs in Premier League, one of the best centre-backs in Europe, who people were linking to PSG not long ago. That's how good Konate's been. That's how great Konate's been. Over the years, injuries, fine. But in actuality, across the past 2 seasons, Konate has suffered 3 injuries. The first 2 came in the 23-24 season. He missed 34 days and he missed 8 matches across 2 separate injuries. Last year, he suffered 1 injury, which came against Real Madrid, ironically. He missed 34 days and 8 matches, and the injury only occurred because he got mugged in the last seconds of the match. The injuries are sort of null and void at this point, but we're talking about someone who was one of the best centre-backs in the air, who's shown composure on the ball, a terrific passing range from the back line, and someone who's able to drive forward with the ball, almost like the Van Dijk's the sweeper of the back four, and Konate is the man who gets forward and really bombs at them. And my dog's dreaming. Okay, so the thought of losing him on a free contract to Real Madrid is woeful. But how do we approach this situation? What's the best thing that we can do regarding the Konate situation? Do we lose him on the free, give him the new deal, the new contract that he supposedly wants for an estimated 200k, relegate him to the reserves? What's the best thing? Well, starting off, people who are suggesting relegate him to the reserves and don't play him, you're wrong. There's no right or wrong answer in most things. You are wrong. Relegating Konate to the reserves and saying, fine, you won't sign, don't play, is the worst decision you can make. All you're doing with that is saying, right, we're going to lose you for free, regardless, but now we don't get the benefit of having you in the first team because you're going to be in the reserves or sat on the bench. So you're getting the worst of both scenarios. If you play him, you're getting to use him and you're still losing him on a free. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to just completely drop him from this team. He's been too important. And I understand that when Van Dijk's not there, he struggles. Anyone would struggle when Van Dijk's not there. Gomez did. Quansah did. Lovren did. Every centre-back who's played alongside Van Dijk misses having that beautiful man in the back line. Konate is no different. We saw that against Brighton when he missed that match. But he's so massive to the way in which we play under Slot, the composure he's shown on the ball, the way in which he conducts himself, how good he is in the air. And Real Madrid see this, and if they can sign someone who's just turned 26, someone who's a France international, serial trophy winner now with Liverpool, who's been a key component for the past year. I don't want to say 2 because Konate stepped up last season or the season before even, but he's been so important to the way in which we play, and he's such a powerhouse, great in the air, quick on the turn, is able to cover up the space that Trent was leaving behind to showcase just how flexible he is in a back four. They can get him on a free. That's one of the bargains of the decade. But is he worth the 200k contract that we are supposedly holding out on giving him? So he's estimated to want 200k. We're offering 180 or thereabouts. There's about a 20k difference. You can't go out and give everyone everything they want. But at the same time, has he warranted it this past year? Potentially, but so have a lot of other lads. You don't see Diaz going out and getting a new deal, despite the fact that he finishes our second highest goal scorer and one of our best attacking players last season. You don't see him getting a new deal. You don't see Gakpo getting a new deal. You don't see, I mean, Salah did just get a new deal. That's maybe just thick. So I don't think that 200k is necessarily worth it, but there's a conversation to be had about that. Do I agree with the notion that we should sell him? Sure, but the problem you've got is teams are only going to come in and try and sign Konate for 20 million, 25 million. Is that worth losing our second best centre-back for £20 million, which wouldn't even pay for a Mark Gahey? Not really. It doesn't make sense to me. At the moment, our 4 options at centre-back are Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez and Wataru Endo. And I suppose Robertson can play there at a push. And you've also got Nalo, who's too young and inexperienced to be considered a real viable option. It doesn't make sense. You need to keep him until there's an option coming in. If a Gahey comes in and there may be another player behind him, like a Hato or a Baliba, whoever it is that you want to bring in, fine, I'll accept it. But selling him for £20 million, compromising that back line, which has already changed dramatically from just 12 months ago, from just 2 months ago even, is a bit of a ridiculous sentiment to be going with. And this is just my personal thoughts and opinions. If it was down to me, I'd be doing whatever I could to keep Konate. But I can also understand the logic of wanting to move him on. If he doesn't understand what it means to play for Liverpool Football Club, to represent this team, this city, and this collective group of fans and supporters, then he's got no place at the club. If you can't understand the value, like we saw with Trent, like we've seen with Michael Owen in the past, like maybe to an extent McManaman, fine. Move him on. But if he's here and he's staying for this year to run his contract down, use him. Use and abuse. Keep him in that back line, getting the best out of him. And there's people who are going to question whether or not he's going to put 100% in. I agree with that sentiment. He might not. He might half-arse it like we saw with Trent against Manchester United, who, despite giving 100% on the pitch at all times, couldn't get through one match as soon as Madrid came in. Maybe Konate will do the same thing. I don't know. But you've got to try it. He was so important to us last year, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, that if he's there, you've got to keep him in that first team. Losing him for 20 million is not worth it because you can't sign anyone of decent quality. If Jarrell Quansah, after 2 seasons of senior footballing experience and an extra one at Bristol Rovers, if you want to call it that, is worth £35 million, losing Konate for 20 million, you're not going to get anyone in to replace him of near good enough quality to fit our back line. Maybe even be a backup option as a centre-back. So that's out the window. Relegating him to the reserves, not having it. Play him. He's got to be utilised. If he wants to be here for the year, if he wants to run that contract down, use him, because he's someone who's capable, someone who was massive for us over and over again last season. Had 1 or 2 bad games, fine. But there's quality there, and it doesn't make sense for us to be dropping him entirely and compromising our push for 21, our push for 7, our push for 11. All these different competitions we're in, you need the best. And Konate proved last year that he is just that. Madrid, get in the bin. Stay away from my players. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is just my quick thoughts and rants. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know as well. And make sure to click like and subscribe. We're on our way to 5,000, guys, which is mental. It's still mental to me. Thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next video.